the International Maritime Organization, IMO, is poised to make a deeply concerning decision regarding a crucial levy on shipping emissions, a move that could severely undermine climate finance and hinder the decarbonization of the shipping industry. Instead of enacting a robust levy, the bloc is set to accept a compromise that significantly weakens the proposed mechanism, a blow to global climate action and a victory for powerful polluters. This compromise, driven by intense lobbying from nations with vested interests in fossil fuels and exports, notably China, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia, will drastically reduce the funds available for climate finance. This is a devastating setback for developing nations disproportionately impacted by climate-related disasters, leaving them with less support for rescue and rehabilitation efforts. The weakened levy will likely insufficiently incentivize shipping companies to transition away from fossil fuels, perpetuating their contribution to global warming. The shipping industry, a significant contributor to global CO2 emissions, approximately 2.2% according to the International Energy Agency, currently lacks the necessary financial pressure to accelerate its decarbonization efforts. The original proposal for a robust levy aimed to generate hundreds of billions of dollars for climate finance, addressing the critical funding gap needed to support vulnerable nations and drive the development and deployment of clean shipping technologies. This compromise significantly weakens that critical funding stream. The opposition to the levy, spearheaded by countries heavily reliant on fossil fuel exports, centers around concerns about increased consumer prices. This argument, while superficially appealing, ignores the far greater costs associated with inaction on climate change, costs borne disproportionately by vulnerable populations and ecosystems. While some IMO members advocated for a majority vote to overcome this opposition, China's forceful rejection and threat of withdrawal effectively stalled the progress of a stronger, more impactful levy. The compromise, as currently proposed, is predicted to create perverse incentives within the shipping industry. Analysis suggests that shipowners will be incentivized to adopt short-term, less effective solutions like increased investment in biofuels, rather than investing in long-term sustainable alternatives such as ammonia-based fuels. This short-sighted approach will delay the necessary systemic change and prolong the industry's reliance on polluting practices. Andrew Forrest, the Australian mining magnate turned prominent green advocate and investor in hydrogen-powered shipping, strongly condemned the pursuit of consensus in this context. He rightly points out that a superficial consensus, achieved at the expense of meaningful climate action, is merely a deceptive tactic employed to maintain the status quo, allowing the continued pollution of our environment and the inefficiency of the shipping sector to persist unchecked. His words ring true, highlighting the deep ethical and practical failures embedded within the proposed compromise. Friederike Roeder, director of the Global Solidarity Levies Task Force, emphasizes the lost opportunity. She paints a stark contrast between the potential for a landmark achievement, the world's first international levy on shipping emissions, and the underwhelming compromise that now appears likely. The weakened agreement fails to deliver the ambitious climate action and decarbonization urgently needed for the shipping sector, leaving the most vulnerable economies even more exposed to the devastating impacts of climate change. This is not just a setback for climate finance. It is a betrayal of the Global South and a failure to adequately address one of the most significant contributors to global warming. The IMO's potential acceptance of this compromise represents a catastrophic missed opportunity. It underscores a troubling willingness to prioritize short-term economic interests over the long-term health of the planet and the well-being of vulnerable communities. The consequences of this decision will be far-reaching and devastating, delaying crucial climate action and deepening existing inequalities. The international community must demand greater ambition and accountability from the IMO, ensuring that the shipping industry takes its rightful role in mitigating climate change and contributing to a sustainable future. The compromise, as it stands, is simply unacceptable. A stronger, more effective levy is crucial, not merely for climate finance, but for the future of the planet itself. The time for decisive action is now. Anything less is a dereliction of our collective responsibility.